Welcome back to another episode of Plan Voodoo. I'm your host Derek, and today I'll be recapping episode 8 of Australian Survivor Heroes vs. Villains. So, for those of you unfamiliar with the content of what we do, every 2 episodes, I'll be giving my top 5 moments of the episode. So, today I'll be giving my top 5 moments of the episode, but first, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Sharni. Unfortunately, you were next. Apologies for the joke, but let's get straight to it. At number 5. So, Australian Survivor, we've seen this challenge before, as Jonathan had mentioned. Shani went 2+ hours previously on one of her seasons, and wow, the ladies really showed out in this one, and it came down to pairs of Sharni and Paige, and Liz and Shani representing both the heroes and villains. And the villains won. They did it. They pulled through, and it was weird that Paige kind of dropped back to the pack, saying, "I'll catch up later." I thought she was gonna hang out. Maybe she was hurting due to injury or talk to Jonathan or something. But then she tells Flick, "Sharni dropped it. Sharni dropped it. Sharni dropped it." Paige is pretty much saying she didn't lose the challenge. She still had power in her legs to keep continuing, but that Sharni was the one who dropped it. And this continues back at camp, in which she tells Flick, Haley, and Nina the same thing, and several other people. She tells Sharni dropped it. And it even goes all the way to tribal council. The first question we see from Jonathan, or the first statement saying that Paige, even though Paige dropped it, Paige immediately refutes that claim from Jonathan, saying that she did not drop it. She's not saying that Sharni dropped it, but she knows that she didn't drop it. Well, there's only 2 of them that are vying in the challenge, that are helping each other in the challenge. If it's not one, then it has to be the other, from what you're saying, Paige. And yeah, she's playing quite emotionally. And you know who picked up on that? Ben. Which leads me into my number 4 moment. So Ben is one of the people that back at camp, Paige tells him that Sharni was the one who dropped the box and not her. And he decides to make a move. Earlier on in the episode, he finds what is believed to be a fake hidden immunity idol under the food, and then goes on later in the episode to discover the real hidden immunity idol near the well. And wow, he turns it. And I honestly thought at that point in time, when he said Paige was emotional, that he was going to turn it on to Paige. He doesn't. He didn't do that. He turned it back on to Sharni, which in hindsight does make sense, because you want the emotional players to vote for you. So during tribal council, Ben walks up to the girls, the 3 returnees being Haley, Flick, and Nina, as well as Paige, and pretty much tells them he's going to play his idol to protect himself and to tell them to vote Sharni. And that's what he did. That's what he did. And he needed to, because they were Travel 11. They needed the votes. He knew probably the other 6 were going to go his way, and those were the 5 votes that could give him another day. Now I have questions. Why Sharni, and why not just let Jerry go home? Is Ben closer to Jerry than we think? I don't know. Possibly. Because Jerry does have ties to the villain tribe. He's the only hero that spent time with them now, other than the returning members, of course, from this season that are on the Heroes tribe, like Haley or Flick, who've played with George. We've seen that. Or Nina, who's played with Jordy. Yeah. So, on the whole, I'm not sure what it gets Ben. He did survive the vote, had to play his idol, played it correctly for himself. So we'll see. Maybe he starts working with Jerry. But for now, the jury's still out on how successful that move is going to be in the long term. Which moves on to my number 3 moment of the episode. I just mentioned him, Jerry. Maybe this is why Ben decided to keep Jerry. He's the only one on the Heroes tribe that's telling it how it is. There is a hierarchy amongst the heroes. You have the 3 alpha males. You have Matt not far below it. Then you have the girls, being Flick and Paige, and then you have everyone else. And everyone else is Jerry, Ben, Sharni, Nina, and I'm missing one, but Haley. Haley. So yeah. He's just telling you how it is. He's saying the quiet part out loud. They threw him to the wolves. He knows where he's at on the food chain. Those are his words verbatim. And he gives us a little insight on why he decided to return to the Heroes Tribe. In reality, it was only for Sharni, but now Sharni's gone. So it's unfortunate for him, but he's in a precarious position. We'll see how it goes. But I do enjoy him calling Sam out for what it was. Sam, I mentioned this several times on this pod. You're not playing well. I don't know what you're doing, bro. Why are you saying at Tribal Council the first time you sent Jerry home, we need to send someone that we do not need and we are good without. Like if they get voted out, we'll have to live with it. He essentially said that at Tribal Council. And you know what they did? They voted out Jerry pretty unanimously. Wow. Yeah, Sam is not playing a good game in the least. I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of the next few to go here. I've been saying that. We'll see. Merge is coming. Spoiler alert. We saw that at the end of the episode. Merge is coming. The reason I put these moments down at the bottom. Now, these moments, 5, 4, and 3 that I just listed, were what we saw for the most part in this episode, the Heroes Tribe. But honestly, I've been much more enjoying the Villains Tribe this season. We've gotten more of them because they've gone to Tribal Council more often, but how can you not be just fascinated with what George is doing, or the Joker, or Simon, or Shani? I guess I'll throw in the other two, Stevie and Liz, as well, because there's only 6 left on that tribe. Yeah, I love that tribe. Pretty much like every single person on that tribe, and I just want to see them go to Tribal Council. It honestly feels like a final 6, the way it's playing out. But I'm not saying that will be the final 6, obviously not. But just like they've already, you get what I'm saying. But all right, let me leap to my number 2 moment of the episode, which was the introduction of the episode. Stevie is talking with Liz and Shani and says he's with the girls now. He's all in with them. Tribal Council approved who he could trust, who he could align with, and we'll see how that bears moving forward. Just to recap, last Tribal Council. Essentially, George forced Simon's hand to either play the idol for Stevie or show him that he does not see him as someone worth saving moving forward. So that's what essentially happened. He didn't play his idol for Stevie. Jordy and Fraser voted Stevie, and George, Liz, and Shani did not vote Stevie, and in doing so, saved Stevie. So yeah, why would Stevie want to work with one Simon who didn't play his idol for him when he possibly could have been going home? Because at the time, at least that Stevie knew, he voted George, and if George played his idol, then who knows where the votes are going. And 2, Jordy voted for Stevie, so why would Stevie want to work with Jordy? So that just leaves him working with the girls and or George. And man, the rest of the camp, between the 3 dudes that we saw, George, Jordy, and Simon, the silence is palpable. Wow. You could drop a pin and probably hear it at that camp, because everyone's just stunned with what just went down at Tribal Council. George, marvelous in his ways, knows what he's doing. And it even continues all the way up until the challenge, in which we get more from the villains. And Simon and George recount what went down at Tribal Council. Simon kind of left it open-ended, but hinted at what happened. George kind of went straight to the point of what went down, even mentioning that he played his idol, and even mentioning that Simon fought for individual immunity. And yeah, that's a lot of information. We'll see what the heroes do with that. It's yeah, George is something else. He's honestly why this season is one of my favorite seasons I've seen of Australian Survivor. Yeah, I've said it. And another person who's making the season great is Shani, which leads me into my number 1 moment of the episode. I said this time and time again, so early on in these recaps I did, I noted that Shawnee wanted to work with George and did not want to see him go, I believe, on the first episode, and she did mention it again in the second episode. And we've seen them work together since. This episode, she said she wants to work with Geordi, and not only work with the Joker, but work with him long term. That's good for him. We'll see. I kind of like that trio with him, Shawnee, and Liz. Makes sense. I'd like to see that bear fruit. They're talking at the well as that's going down, and as they're leaving the water well, Shawnee spots an idol. Now I'm presuming it's not the idol that George played, because earlier on, like I just mentioned, Ben finding that fake idol, then he found the real idol. Simon had found the fake idol in the cookie jar. So I'm sure that idol actually has been placed there for quite a while, but no one's found it. And it was found by Shawnee. And you know what? You know what? It matches her bikini. Yes, color coordination, as Shawnee put it. And yeah, I know I'm speaking on behalf of Plan Voodoo, on behalf of myself and Alex, but we're big fans of Shawnee and we'd like to see her go far. And yeah, this season's been great. That wraps up my top 5 moments of the episode. And we are heading to a swap, is presumed. And we get a glimpse of Sean and Simon on the same tribe. That's all that we got. So Simon's joining the alpha males. We'll see. At least that's what the Joker's insinuating in the preview. That's TV scene. That episode's going to be later tonight. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to tune in for our weekly recap episode later in this week. It won't be on YouTube or Spotify tomorrow, but be sure to check it out later in this week. And yeah, thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you're listening. Follow us on Twitter at Plan Voodoo Pod. And yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. This is Plan Voodoo, where split vote is not safe.